Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Coturnix Corner Live. We have a great show lined up for you tonight. It's going to be all about homesteading with Coturnix Quail, and our guest is Heather Cole, and she's joining us from Vermont tonight. So it looks like the chat room is already rocking, so that's pretty cool. I do have a couple announcements that I want to make. The first announcement is our giveaway. William Carl Foster has donated a 36 count of mixed hatching eggs to the person who asked the most engaging question of our guest tonight. So get your questions in, guys. We're only going to be taking questions up till about 7:50, 5 minutes to 8, somewhere in there. And we want to be able to get through all the questions. We're going to be announcing the winner at the end of the show, so stick around for that. And also, if you would, put a letter Q, type the letter Q in front of your questions. That just helps me go through the chat box a little bit quicker and be a little more efficient and save some time. So we got a lot in store for you guys tonight. So thanks for joining us and welcome to the show. Okay, we are here with Heather. How are you tonight, Heather?
Very good, Terry. Hello, everybody.
Thank you very much for joining us. Put that little head up there so we can see who's with you.
Put your head up, Charlotte.
Hi. What's your name?
Charlotte Lee Smith.
Charlotte. How are you tonight?
Good.
Good. Okay, Heather, if you would, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you're from. We know you're from Vermont, but tell us a little bit more about that.
Yep, we are in northern Vermont. We're actually only about 20 minutes from the Canadian border and about 40 minutes from the New Hampshire border. So we're way up north in the corner.
Okay.
And we have Charlotte's Crazy Critters, which Charlotte here is part of what created the homestead to have the addition of quail.
Nice. Okay, tell us a little bit about the homestead. What kind of animals you've got and whatnot.
So we have been raising Cornish cross meat birds for chickens, Durack pigs for piglets for sale and for pig butchering for meat.
Mm-hmm.
We have 60 free-range chickens, and we have 6 Nigerian dwarf goats for milking and for show.
Cool.
And last year, before all the COVID stuff, we started trying to figure out what can Charlotte add for something for a 4-H project and a homeschool project, because she's homeschooled.
Okay.
And we researched emus, we researched ducks, muscovy ducks, we researched honeybees. We came across quail. We really don't know. Okay, stop playing with her hair. She's only going to be here for a few minutes, everybody.
Oh, that's okay. She's cute.
Bedtime. And in some of our research, we found out, okay, some animals didn't quite fit, even though we have a big homestead. The seasons are very cold up here and different. And we came across quail, and we started watching some of My Shire Farms videos, and lots of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then we found Coturnix Corner. We started watching lots of them and doing lots of learning. And it really, truly, our first hatch was going to just be for a 4-H project, maybe to bring to the local fairs. But love the idea because it had to be something that's self-sufficient.
Right.
Everything we do on our farm is for our family first and foremost. The extras we sell, and it's a little tiny business, but it's just to pay for the extra feed. It's not a huge thing. It's our family comes first and our friends come first.
Sure. What made you decide to add the Coturnix Quail to your homesteading efforts?
I guess we really just liked learning about them. It's something we knew nothing about here in Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
We had never even heard of bobwhites. Chickens was the only thing we'd ever heard of for poultry up here, and of course ducks. And it just drew our attention a lot more than emus, just for the interesting aspect and the self-sufficiency parts of it. And the learning opportunity for Charlotte
Sure.
from the incubation and the whole process right through. And she's been right there with all of the animals on the homestead, but definitely the quail, right from day one, turning it into homeschool projects and into other 4-H projects. Even though everything kind of got shut down, we still have kept it going, and she still goes and does chores, and somehow convinced Dad to be able to get her a horse this spring too. But it took
Really?
some
Cool. Lucky you, Charlotte.
because that's not very self-sufficient.
Cool. Can you tell us a little bit about your quail setup and your feeding regimen?
Yes, so we go to the barn, of course, every morning because we have so many animals to take care of. And Charlotte's good at going up and doing her chores.
I like to feed the kitty.
Aw.
We have barn cat up there too, of course. So we have the J feeders. We have the J feeders on the inside of all the cages. Anything that's from a grow out right straight on through, even to our mixed cages and our colony cages. We do not in our breeding pens. Those are in a whole separate room. And we do for the chickens, we have the little nipple couplets with the black PVC.
Yep.
It's all set up for them. It's not for the quail. I like to be able to clean out their waterers. They just get so stinky and filmy.
Right.
So I like to be able to rotate them out. So we just fill them, do a day, throw in a big trash can, and bring it into the milk room, wash them all out. We do have everything separated. We do have all of our breeding is in one area of the barn, all my breeding cages, which are much smaller than any of the pictures I sent you. And everything is sorted by, of course, with my breedings, but even right straight through my colony cages, by size and color.
Okay.
We do jumbos, and we do some colors. We're having some fun with some mixed cages and colors. And that's new to us. We started with jumbos, and that's what we've kind of stuck with. It's great for self-sufficiency for our own family, for the larger eggs, the larger meat.
Sure. Yep. Makes sense. How many quail are you currently keeping, and and what were the varieties, the color varieties?
Yes, so we of course started with Jumbo Wilds right off in the beginning, and we still have those going. Multiple cages. I think we have 4 different cages now of Jumbo Wilds in large colonies.
Okay.
And so I keep track of all the data for each one, where those eggs came from. If I switch any cages around for anything, we have clipboards besides every single one of the cages for that, and Charlotte helps me with a lot of that too. So we have the Jumbo Egyptians, Jumbo Whites, Jumbo Wilds, Jumbo White Wigs, and then my colors are all still, because I'm just starting to play. They're just in a mixed cage all by themselves. Okay. I'm starting to play with some breeding aspects. That's my winter project. We kind of just went off and going so quickly. But I definitely have at least 3 large colony cages of each of my jumbos.
Okay. What other livestock do you keep on the homestead?
So we have direct pigs. So we have 2 sows that get artificially inseminated, and we have piglets. One moment. In there.
Cute.
Yes. Okay, she's gone. Now I'll be focused.
Good night.
So yes, we do the Durac pigs to raise for ourselves. We also have some friends that do it with us, and we artificially inseminate them. And we have piglets being born in a couple weeks for our very first big litter. The second will be due in a little bit. We have, I think the second sow is maybe 3 months behind.
Okay.
And we have 4 piglets that will be ready for butcher in the 1st of February that are just for us.
Okay.
6 Nigerian dwarf goats that the 3 girls are all bred now, and we do them for show and for milking. And of course, whatever we don't save for ourselves to reserve, whether it's pets for people, other show goats for other 4-H kids,
Sure.
just families that love to have goats, or people that want. We've got some good lines with our Nigerian goats. That's what we originally started the homestead with.
Okay.
So we kind of went outside of the state of Vermont and pulled in some different things. We do the Cornish cross chickens, and we do those about, we try to do two batches a year of about 100 each, staggering them by about 4 weeks to try to get them into the freezer for the winter. We again partner with some friends on that, so they throw in some feed. We do a big processing day all together, and that's the same with the pigs also.
Cool.
Is that all of our animals? And then all of we're definitely like over 300 for the quail, all Coturnix,
Okay.
mostly jumbos, probably only about 50 colors right now, just starting with the colors. Lately, pets have been a huge thing. I've got a lot of people in Vermont that are coming and buying chicks and of colors
Right.
just for pets inside their house,
Really?
which is awesome.
Cool. Yeah. And how many horses? I know Charlotte's got a new horse.
We have just one horse, yes.
Okay.
She was kind of a rescue, and Sheila is an amazing horse. She's a 15-year-old and had an injury many, many years ago, so she only has one eye.
Mhm.
And Charlotte is learning to ride and learning to go to some local shows, just at the local fairs and stuff right here up in our county.
Cool. Hi. She's back.
You heard her name. Okay, time to go finish up 'cause it's bedtime.
Okay. I am going to bring up those photos that you showed us, or that you sent me. And if you want to just, as we go through them, just tell us a little bit about what, each one.
Absolutely. So this is our farm. This is our barn. And you can only see half of the true size of the barn. It was snowing the morning I took this picture a few weeks ago. On the right-hand side of the picture, the small little barn is what we call the carriage house. And originally, this homestead was built a long, long, long time ago. So that actually is the carriage house that has been restored and just stayed that way forever. In the back of the picture, you'll see, again, just the big barn. And it's even longer than the picture if the carriage house wasn't in front of it. I should have gotten a little closer, but it was a beautiful snowy morning, our first snowfall in Vermont, and that was one of the most recent pictures.
Cool.
So it's very large. It is 2 stories. The second floor is all hay barn. The first floor, pretty much a portion you see right here is the barn part where the animals are. And then in the further back end is it used to be for some registered dairy cows here in our kingdom. It was a show arena. It's just for storage right now, but that whole other further side of it is all just more building that's just been added on that's more recent than the old original barn.
Right. Nice.
Yeah, and it sits on over 100 acres here in northern Vermont in Glover. So it's
beautiful.
a beautiful. This is Charlotte and her father, Eric, my husband. And this
No
was
way.
Charlotte's first time harvesting and culling some quail.
Oh, okay.
She's very into learning all the aspects of it. And first round, we were in the summertime, we were a little leery, like, all right, this is what we're doing. And she was just playing outside. But she wanted to get right in there. And she does with harvesting all the other animals too. We were concerned about the quail kind of started off as her project and her pet. But she flipped over her understanding of what we do on our farm to want to be able to jump right in there and take advantage. So she was helping do all of it right from the beginning to the end, and bringing some of the little treats over to our beagle in the backyard at the same time. Make sure he got some treats while we were harvesting.
Nice. Here the kids are.
Yeah. So Charlotte, these are our 3 little ones. We were babysitting for a couple weeks for a family friend for the one in the back.
Okay.
And the 2 in the front are our little bucks that we got just this spring to add to our herd. And these are 2 of Charlotte's friends and some very close family friends that come over a lot. And are really good at giving some attention to the goats and helping take care of them and learning about them. And they're at Charlotte's Crazy Critters a lot, and we have a lot of fun with them when they're here.
Nice. There's a
And
big
this
old
is,
boy.
yeah, this is our big sow. This is the one who will be having babies in a few weeks now, or down to about 3 weeks. And that's my husband, Eric. And we call her Lollipop. Um, a lot of people, really advise, say, don't name your animals on your homestead. But we do, because we want to take very good care of them and enjoy them and make sure they're happy and healthy and comfortable all the time, because they give so much back to us.
Sure.
So we treat them all like our pets, but they also are a purpose to give back to our families.
Yep. Now we got some quail stuff.
Now here's some quail stuff. Yes. So these are some of the first original cages in our first grow out pens that we have. And these are some of our colony cages, and we've learned as we go. And all of the 3 different rooms all have different style cages. And I'm actually, this winter, we're going to be switching over to Wynola Ranch and start using some of their cages also to really figure out what works best for what we're doing.
Okay.
These are just some of our jumbo whites. And this is just, we were in the middle of sorting out some cages, switching some things over. So this is normally a large colony cage. I do shake it up and pull out the males every 6 months, and pull in new blood. So it doesn't look like there's many in there. It looks like I only see like 4 in that picture, but in that room, these are the cages that we use. We do have the J feeders on the doors. We did not insert them from the outside. It just worked good for the way that my husband created these cages in the beginning. We've learned a lot since then. You can see in the top of the J feeder, I've got some cardboard.
Yep.
Some of the cages had like mesh or screen on the doors, so that made it hard for the J feeder. It was spilling out a lot. So we're just improvising as we go to figure out what works best for us. And that's really why I've stuck to those waterers too, besides keeping them clean.
Sure.
We're still trying to figure out what works best for what we're doing, and every cage is a little different when it comes to the style as we figure it out.
Yep.
The other ones have the rollouts for the eggs. This room doesn't. But each time I start a new batch and a new generation, they go into a different room, and just so I can keep track of all my data and stuff from hatch and where I got them from, and which is my first generation, what's my second generation, what's my third generation.
Sure.
So you'll notice there's lots of things written on some of the doors, if you can see them. And so this is one of my rooms too. So I'm experimenting with, and I know a lot of people are gonna probably look at this picture and be like, oh my God, there's chickens running around. I'm experimenting with the fact that the quail waste so much food. And I've tried fermenting the feed. We have tried different types of feeders. I really like the J feeders. I really, really like them. But they do still tend to toss out. Some of our cages do, Terry, from your video, have the 1 inch by 1 inch over where their heads go. That does work good. These cages here don't. So I took some of the old feed bags from all of our animals, stapled them up so no chickens could get on top of the cages.
Okay.
Had Eric raise up some of my colony cages. And this is a room that's off of my chicken coop. So the chickens can come into this room and they can free range around the bottom and scratch.
Sure.
I've just got a few in there going because I know it's not healthy at all for quail and chickens to be together, but they're on very different levels. There's quite a bit of air. There's great ventilation, of course, because it's a chicken coop, so their door is always open, so it's actually cooler in that room too. So just experimenting with that to see if I can have less wasted feed and let the chickens have a little bit of a good time too.
Sure.
So these are my brooders, and this is what I use. And in the summertime, we have quite a few of these. and you'll notice they're split in half. It was a chicken brooder for many years. So we split it in half. I can take that divider out in the middle if I need to. And yes, the door opens up, but even Charlotte gets into those brooders and knows you just put one hand over each side, and we don't have any babies escaping as they're growing out. In this time of year, they're actually in my basement.
Okay.
We have a stone. Our house, the farmhouse, is on a stone foundation, so it's only about 55 degrees in there, but it's warmer than the barn. So it
Right.
works good just to have them in the basement. I can keep a closer eye on them as they're growing out. And then when this time of year, when they are ready to go up to the barn, where the temperatures are cooler and they don't need heat lamps anymore,
Right.
we transfer them up to the barn. So we have several of those in our basement. And then we just have for the first week, I keep them in the Rubbermaid totes with a frame over the top and the heat lamp above it. And those are also either, the first week I keep them actually right in the main floor of my house in a back room.
Okay.
Then they go to the basement into those little brooders. Then they go up to the barn and they grow out, just because the temperatures are so cold here until about May, June.
Sure. So you just set the heat lamp right on top of the door there on the wire?
Yeah, the door will close down,
Yep.
and then this was outside when I was getting ready to clean it, to shift everything around for the fall time to bring it into the house from our last hatch that was in there. There's Eric's got little pieces of 2x4 up, and so my heat lamps clip right to it, so they're
okay.
not actually touching the wire. Sometimes I do put a piece of wood over the back side of it so that half of it is staying warmer, but the light is still getting in.
Sure.
And these are just some of my day olds up until a week old, and this is just an up close picture of some of our newest little babies that we just hatched out. And they are in the blue plastic totes with the hardware store paper towels. They're
Okay.
feed on the floor for the first few days. And this is actually, it's not ground up, that feed, so they're probably more like 5 days old.
Right. Okay, and this must be your Facebook page.
This is our Facebook page. Yep, we have a Charlotte's Crazy Critters Facebook page, just to help the local people around here know who we are, what we're doing. We try to connect with other families that are local in our area and in Vermont, just to help work with other people. We've learned a lot from other homesteaders, and a lot from from the quail enthusiasts, and it really is the best way to learn new things, to ask questions without being felt like you're asking a wrong question, when you're just asking because you don't know and you want to find out. So
Sure.
we try to do a lot of education on there. A lot of the school kids, we live right across the street from the local town school, so a lot of school kids that Charlotte knows and their families follow it, and
Right.
we just post our farmers market things, and when we do have excess eggs, we post them on there and just keep people updated on what we're doing.
Sure. Okay, guys, we're going to go ahead and start taking some questions from the chat room here. Just a reminder, guys, if you would, please type the letter Q in front of your questions. It'll just help me out finding the questions through all the comments. I'm not going to read all the comments like we do when we do the MyShire streams, just because we're shutting it down right at 8 o'clock, and I don't want to keep our guests later than that. So, all right, let me get up to the top here and see. Okay, those are all, everybody checking in. Let's see. Kiki's asking a question as soon as she can think of it. I like that. Okay, where are we at here? Type, okay, she said that. Got quite a few people in there. You guys, if you would too, hit that thumbs up button for me, if you would. It just kind of helps us in the algorithm for YouTube. Heidi L says, "Way to go, Mama. I was raised very similarly, and I wouldn't have traded it for the world." I think she's talking about Charlotte.
Yeah, and it's how I grew up too. I grew up on a small family-run dairy farm
Mm-hmm.
um, here in northern Vermont, milking cows as a kid and having these same animals around with my mom and my dad and an uncle and a grandmother and very
Sure.
small, same circumstances. So it's a great way to grow up.
Yep. Heidi says, "What led you to the homestead lifestyle?"
Well, it's like I was just saying, it's how I grew up. When I was a kid, animals were everywhere, butchering was happening. We made butter. We made things from we had to bring milk from the bulk tank every night home to both Grammy's house and my house so that
Mm-hmm.
everyone had milk in the refrigerator. It was just a normal part of life growing up. It's where my dad was raised for many generations on a farm of 1,100 acres in Westmore, Vermont. And I enjoyed it. I loved being outside. I never really watched TV.
Mm-hmm.
Just learned a lot of life aspects
Sure.
and definitely wanted Charlotte to do the same. And with the fact that it's kind of a dying generation that doesn't happen even here in rural Vermont anymore.
Right.
Starting to make a comeback now, and COVID's helping it, which actually is a great thing. A lot more people are gardening,
Sure.
and we have a lot of families. Like our gardens, we don't do here on our homestead. We do it at a family's friend's home. They
Yep.
do the gardening. They have great soil there. They already had the plot. Same with our beef cows. We're doing it with them, but at their home. So our homestead entails things that aren't actually even on our homestead, which is kind of cool because it's other families that we get to enjoy spending time with and learning from and learning together.
Sure. Okay, Kiki wants to know what incubators do you use?
Let's see. I have a Farm Innovations.
Mm-hmm.
I have is it Hoverbator,
Hoverbator, yep.
Upbator, yep. And I have both for each of them. I have a still air because at the beginning I wasn't sure what to get. So we have a still air for each of them and a circulated air for both of them.
Okay.
And I kind of use each of them differently. And depending upon how many I'm hatching and what I'm doing, and different times of the year. Sometimes I like the dry hatch and the less different times of the year, like in the summertime here. It
Sure.
really works a lot better here for me.
Yep.
And that depends upon where we all live to make it work the best.
Right.
I do like, I am going to invest this winter and get a countertop cabinet one instead of the little tabletops.
Sure.
And actually I've been working on my husband to build one of yours, Terry, because they are just so successful. He just has not
They
had
have
time
been
yet.
working out well. I was
Keep
surprised.
feeding it. So I have given him the videos many times and he has watched. So hopefully that'll be his winter project because that is my goal.
Right. Jay Shari says, "What is your opinion on assist hatching?" Also from California. Do you assist any of your birds out of the egg?
I have in the past. At this point, I'm usually hatching out so many. If it's not happened naturally, I let it be. And sometimes it does. Sometimes,
Right.
I feel like, oh, I just want to get in there. But it's sometimes also it's just not worth the risk of opening up those little incubators again,
Yep.
that the humidity and the warmth escape so quickly,
Yep.
even when they're right in my house. I have in the past, it's been successful, and it was okay. And
Right.
I've had it where it probably wasn't worth it, and I should, and I know better, just let nature take its course.
Yep. I think that's a lot of problems with people that are hatching out for the first time or two.
Yes.
They're just not patient enough. I don't even
Yeah.
when my birds start hatching, once they go into lockdown, I forget about them.
Yeah.
Maybe after I hear, 24 hours after I hear peeping, I'll open it up and get out the dry chicks and go from there. Okay.
The required state that you have to get to, because those first few hatches you're nail biting and
Oh,
sitting
yeah.
right there. But yes, as you do more, you do learn. Just let nature take its course and pull them out.
Sure.
And I pull them out every 12 hours.
Quailman wants to know, how hard is it to get started with your homestead, and what is the biggest challenge you've had to face?
Well, for us, it was pretty easy. We started small. That's one thing I will definitely tell everybody, and I do. Um, we kind of started thinking about what animals would fit our families first.
Mm-hmm.
The goats were a perfect match. They're friendly. They're not really easy to take care of when it comes to their health. Um, but for having Charlotte around and just being a small family, they're they're really like pets.
Okay.
But even with the pigs, we started raising our own piglets first. We would buy the piglets from another local farmer. We would raise them, and then we would have them butchered and processed. Um, and then we just keep getting a little bit bigger each time. And
Sure.
it's been the same with the quail, same with the 60 chickens that we have, the 100 meat birds that are on scheduled to happen next
Right.
again. And then, we would like to add maybe some musky ducks, some rabbits. So they are always self-sufficiency animals that we're working towards.
Okay. Verna, who is also our moderator tonight, wants to know, do you supply lighting for your quail and the chickens?
Hi, Verna. Yes, I do. The quail they're probably up to about 16 hours of light right now, 15, 16 hours of light. It's dark here. If I'm not back from the barn at, 4:45, it's pitch black, and I'm
Right.
using a flashlight.
Yep.
So yes, I definitely give the quail, they have lights in each of their room, and the chickens also, yes, because
Okay.
they do need it. Chickens free range, but so they can get outside, but they still need that extra light. And so far, knock on some wood, it's still going very well.
Okay. Kiki wants to know how often you're setting eggs.
Let's see. I don't think my incubator has shut off since like February of last year, consistently.
Yeah.
Any of them. I might take a little break here and there as I rotate things around, but it's pretty consistent.
Yep.
And I've got live quail going out the door. I've got meat going out in addition to what we utilize. So
Mhm.
I have to keep up with what we need and what a few other people would like.
Sure. Heidi L says, how do you keep yourself in the black, dollars wise, with a homestead? This is definitely my dream.
We're still working on that part of it. um, it's hard. You have to take into consideration what would I be spending at the grocery store versus I'm spending that on feed
Mm-hmm.
and our own time. We have the time to be in the barn. We have the time to do the projects. We are home all day long. Charlotte is homeschooled. It's pretty flexible. We can take the barn elements into being her learnings. We can kind of multitask things at the same time. I'm really hoping that we're pretty much at the point of at least I know we're more than breaking even right now.
Right.
And we have, the piglets are coming up, and that's going to generate some money. In the spring, the goats and the kids that we do not keep will generate some money. And they are registered, so they're a little more expensive than just everyday pets.
Mm-hmm.
So that is our goal, but we definitely have to write everything down, and we're still so new at this that I tend not to look at that spreadsheet very often. I'm good at adding, okay, I came home from the feed store, came home from the mill,
Right.
here's my receipts. But actually looking at the bottom line is something that I still don't tend to want to do yet.
Sure. This is a good question. Matthew says, do you use black soldier fly for bio waste management?
I want to. We had some this summer when it was really warm here this summer. It was a very warm summer for Vermont, warmer
Mhm.
than usual. And yes, I had just some natural black soldier flies were starting to just naturally produce and redevelop. Then it got really cold and really damp here for a while,
Mhm.
and they didn't seem to like that part of it come August time.
Right.
And I've been watching some YouTube videos on that kind of stuff, and composting, of course. We do compost, but it's just a big pile.
Right.
and also researching worms for our compost also. So there's a lot of little ideas that are out there to help our homestead and help our gardens and help composting and
Sure. Yeah, my black soldier fly, I mean, we're in the lower to mid 80s right now, and the black soldier fly larva is almost gone for the year. So
yeah.
it seems like they need to be in the upper 80s, lower 90s for some reason.
And that's about when we were having it. When we had a
Hmm.
good long warm spell this summer, and
Yep.
as soon as that changed, they were gone. But they naturally occurred, and I wasn't trying to do it yet. So I was excited to see them, but I definitely need a lot more research on them.
Sure. Okay, Brian says, I keep my quail in my garage. I have a vacuum system and the cars coming in and out. Will the noise from the vacuum system and the cars have an effect on egg production?
What I'm not really. Oh, probably it's like an indoor vac. I see what he's talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
I think they're going to get used to it. We have goats and pigs, and in and out and banging in our barn, and I don't see any difference. But it's the way we've always had them too.
Right.
But I'm pretty good for every hen that I have, an egg a day, and they're happy.
Yeah, I keep my floors clean with a shop vac, and that thing's noisy, and it doesn't bother my birds at all. They're
Yeah.
pretty much used to it. So,
No, we've
Connie
always
says,
music going. There's always music going. There's always Eric and his carpentry stuff going on up there, and
sure.
yeah.
Connie says, what color are you most interested in producing, and have you thought about how you are going to produce it? Oh, Larry.
Well,
Sorry.
and right now I'm just excited to see all the different colors that are out there
Mm-hmm.
because so many people are coming to me that are interested in pets, which I think is really cool.
Yep.
A lot of people are bringing them into their homes and into aquariums or into cages and having them in their offices and in their living rooms. And that's where I think the colors are a great fit.
Sure.
Um, I still, for our self sufficiency, really focus on the jumbos and really enjoy the jumbos. And I love the coloring of all the jumbos. I'm not really looking to recreate anything new
Mm-hmm.
at all. I'm more into what happens in my mixed cages. My mixed cages are, I keep a roux in there so that they're still fertile eggs, just for the fun of it, just to hatch and just to see. But that's kind of all separate on the side.
Sure.
I do not have any color breeding programs or cages set up at all at this point. Only just my jumbos.
Gotcha. Okay, Quail Ma'am wants to know, what was the startup cost of your homestead? Approximately how much does it take to maintain it? I'd love to go this route as well if I can afford it.
Well, we are very lucky to have the barn that has had nothing in it for many, many, many years, and very, very lucky to have the availability to use it. Um, it's an old barn. It's taken care of. It's been well maintained. Of course, there's the electric. Here, our property is on town sewer, so we do have to pay sewer.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the water from the well, but we do have the sewer bill that comes up. But most of it just goes into the compost manure pit. So we don't have to worry about that bill. But there is the electricity for sure. And here in the cold, heat lamps, even now in my house, heat lamps have to be going. So
Sure.
there is a startup. We were very lucky with what we already had established that was here and able to be utilized. We did not have to build a barn, build a shed, build a room for any of our animals. So
You said you're on 100 acres?
yes, it's a little over
Nice.
100.
Nice. I wish I had that much room.
Yeah.
Let's see, where was I at? Heidi says, do you grow food for yourself and to supplement your animals' feed?
Anything that's left over from the garden, of course, it goes to the animals before it goes to the compost pile for sure. We grow our own food. Like I said, our gardens are at a friend's house, and we share the cost of seeds and getting them started when it comes to the cost and the labor.
Mm-hmm.
and the harvesting and the farmers market. You know, we try to make sure that we bring our excess to the farmers market or sell it. We have a little farm stand on the front lawn when the summer is nice, so that local people can come.
Sure.
We do sell some of our free range chicken eggs to a country store right here in Glover, at the Parker Pie Country Store, Lake Parker Country Store. And Charlotte and I also deliver. We have a senior apartment complex just down the street from us. So we go every Wednesday with our baskets of eggs and sell them to the senior citizens of what's excess. And the rest is our consumption and our close family and friends.
Sure. Okay, Cindy says, oftentimes the premise behind homesteading is self-sufficiency. Do you have a plan for feeding your quail without having to rely on commercial feed stores?
Well, I am trying to work getting away from a big box feed store, or like a Tractor Supply or something
Sure.
like that. I am working with our local mill to create a quail-specific feed that I feel, after doing a lot of research from a lot of different companies and a lot of different resources, on what I feel is best for my quail here in Vermont. We're not done those conversations yet. We're working on some different analysis sheets and having some of the labs look at them, and the extension office. So at least I'm hoping that I can buy it from my local mill with my own research and help from everybody of what's going to work best for them, and to encourage other people that follow Charlotte's Crazy Critters and work with us, if they're local here in the Northeast Kingdom, to buy the same.
Sure. Okay, Quail Ma'am says, what advice would you give someone strongly considering homesteading?
Think hard, think a lot, start small, don't bite off more than you can chew. Do keep track of things, and do look at that data. Not like me, where I do look at it like once a month and
Sure.
and just try to figure out what can I do to make it better next month. That's about as far as I am right now. It is a lot of work. We are just a family of 3, and we are in that barn a lot. But we enjoy it. Charlotte can do
Sure.
her homeschooling there in the barn. There's Wi-Fi in the barn, so if she has to even do something on Wi-Fi for a group something, she can.
Right.
And we have it set up for that way. But it does. I could not imagine working 40, 60 hours a week as I had in the past, and doing what we do.
Right.
And I'm definitely a great big thrift store and yard sale kind of a person now, to get all the barn clothes again, which I had gotten rid of for a few years, but
Yep.
we definitely have dressers of just barn clothes.
Yep. And a lot of people don't realize that you don't need 100 acres to have a homestead. I mean, we had a guy on here from Hawaii, Andrew from Aloha Quails. He's on like 5,000 square feet, and he's got a little homestead there. He's got quail, chickens, ducks, all kinds of crazy stuff going on. So, yeah, it can be
Yes.
done.
It definitely can be, and with some research, you definitely can, even in apartments. I mean, I have some people that have come and bought breeder sets that are just have, call in a cage of what they wanted on
Sure.
their porch, that's screened in and plasticed in, and it's right in their entryway of their apartment.
Yep. Freezer wants to know, how do you get rid of the quail obsession? Good luck.
I haven't really figured that out for any of our animals yet, so.
Okay, Heidi says, how often are you hatching eggs to meet your meat and selling demands?
Like I said, our incubators are constantly going. There might be one off at a time, but we keep rotating it right straight through. I can hatch up to 120 with my egg turners in each of them. And that's a large amount for me. 120, once a week, maybe every 2 weeks
Okay.
is about what I'm doing.
Okay, Bill says, how did you start out with your marketing? Wait a minute. How did you start out with your marketing, your quail, after you use what you need for yourself?
Actually, a local farmer's market.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
it was summertime, and COVID had kind of released this past summer, so we were able to wear masks. Um, and again, that was something I could include Charlotte in with bringing her down there and learning, the aspect of customer service and speaking to people and being around people and handling money and how sometimes homemade crafts um, are an awesome thing to share with others. So
Sure.
she brings crafts to the fair and sells and talks to people about the quail eggs and what she does with them and shows them how little they are and the different patterns. And yes, we really just started at the farmer's market, which then led to the little farm stand at our home
Mm-hmm.
on our front lawn every day, and the Facebook page of people just following us.
Sure. Okay, guys, it is 7:45, so we need to kind of do a lightning round so we can get as many questions as we can in here. Um, Kiki says, Heather, have you thought about putting a box of dirt under the feeders? I need to figure out how to show you how I serve feed zero waste.
Oh, yes, Kiki, please do. That's a great idea. And I have thought about um, taking some of my, already my soil that I already have from the compost pile and putting it right in there because the chickens would root around in it too and keep working it. But yes, do send me anyone that has information. Charlotte's Crazy Critters would love to hear anything that's working for other people.
Yeah, Kiki's over there on Backyard Chickens, so you might want to
Yeah.
go check her out over there and see
Yeah.
what she got. Okay, Connie says, have you tried cutting a piece of wire mesh the size of the J feeder and laying it on top of the feed to prevent waste?
Yes, we do have some of the J feeders with that.
Yep.
And that does work much better than having it open. The reason why some of them don't have it is I have lots of other projects for my husband, and he's got a big list, so he keeps getting through it.
uh, Fraser says, did you say that your daughter is butchering with you, and how old is she?
Yes, Charlotte is 6 years old, and yes, she, at her own choice, we tell her what's going on, and if she chooses to come out and participate, she's welcome to, and she always does. Whether
Great.
it's pigs being butchered, the meat birds, the quail,
Right.
any, she has the choice to participate, and she chooses to, and she dives right in, hands first, and yeah, and her, my husband Eric has always been an avid hunter. So there's always been fish and turkey and moose and deer
Sure.
coming to her home through her life, and it's the same aspect for
It's
her.
part of life, yep. Uh, Kiki asked, are you a member of Backyard Chickens or their sister site, Sufficient Self?
Oh, Kiki, I have not heard of Sufficient Self. I do check out BYC quite a bit. Um, Sometimes just because it's a web page rather than a Facebook thing, it's a little harder for me to have the time to go to. But I will check out both. I will check out the sister one too. That's
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Cindy says, what is your favorite method for peeling boiled quail eggs?
The trick. I use my pressure cooker, my Instapot. It works the best. Ice bath them right after, like 3 minutes. Ice bath them. I do it for my free range chicken eggs and my quail eggs, and it's a godsend. I never boil on a stove top. Never, never.
Heidi wants to know, how do you preserve a lot of your meat? I can a lot, but I have yet to try canning quail.
I have not tried canning quail yet. I honestly, when I do harvest and put what I want for my family in the freezer, the rest of it goes so quickly, and I have not tried. I do a lot of canning. We do a lot of canning in the fall time, but that is a new thing that I need to try out. But I have been just cryovacuuming it, putting it in the freezer. If we don't eat it instantly that night.
I should have put that picture up that you sent me of the freeze packaged quail.
Yeah, we do that.
Chase wants to know, what size are your brooders?
Those brooders in the picture are probably easily 3x3 split in half.
Okay.
Maybe even a 4x4 split in half.
Erie Quail Farm wants to know, what is your favorite way to preserve your quail eggs?
They don't last very long for preserving. I do make pickled eggs quite a bit. A lot of people really like pickled eggs. I do too. So I have quite a few different recipes of them. But between just people buying them, because honestly, right now on my shelf, I probably only have 3 24 packs of quail eggs.
Okay.
They don't stick around. I mean, it never gets to the point where, ooh, I gotta use them up,
Right.
because we use them every day, just like the chicken eggs. Doesn't matter. We always have fresh ones or pickled ones.
Yep. Melody says, how old before you can tell the sex with feather sexable quail?
I'm getting pretty good now. Definitely 3 weeks.
Yep.
Even 2 weeks, I
Even
can
two.
almost start saying it. But I always tell my customers, 3 weeks, and I can be almost 100% certain. And if not, we can do a switch. Things happen. But with the feather sexables, once you're around them enough, it's pretty. Even Charlotte, definitely when they're teens, Charlotte
Mhm.
could go up to the pen at 6 years old, and she knows. Nope,
Sure.
she's good at
Little boy.
helping me grab the males and put a tag on them.
Go. Quail Ma'am says, what is the maximum amount of quail you would be able to accommodate? 100 acres? As many as she wants.
Yeah, yeah. We have a lot of room for everything, but we want to be successful for ourselves first before we
Right.
go too big. It's
Right.
it's slow and steady, and just making sure that our freezers are full and our pantries are full, and that we're helping others learn how to do what we're doing, because I don't need to I don't need to put in extra money to sell products of what we have. I'd rather teach others to do it for themselves.
Gotcha. Freezer wants to know if you know any quail breeders in Massachusetts.
I don't know if I could say specifically off the top of my head yes. But I do follow all the quail pages, and I'm not sure exactly who is from where. I just scroll through and
Right.
try to help who I can, and read and learn
Yep.
as I go.
Me too.
But I do follow as many as I can.
Quail Man wants to know, what's your family's favorite animal on the homestead?
I think we all have something different. That's why we have so many. Um, I really like enjoying the quail. The quail really are my personal relaxation. I love to go up and just look and listen and think and plan of where do I want to go with the quail.
Mm-hmm.
Our chickens are just backyard chickens, so there's really no thinking there. It's just a hodgepodge. We have no roosters when it comes to the free range chickens. We
Okay.
only do chicken for the eggs, just for the producers. And we just incubate some every spring, add some more, and keep going from there. The goats are a lot of fun. Um, you get to spend a lot of time with them personally, and each one individually with the care that they need.
Mm-hmm.
And the fun of going, to shows and their genetics and their DNA and their moon spots and the colors they can throw, which is a lot like quail, which really
Right.
makes us love them too. And we all love the pigs too. So what can we say?
Bear says, first time hatching eggs, bought shipped eggs online. First one hatching now on the 19th day. What would cause the late hatch?
Mm, Probably too low of humidity. I've got my system packed down. I have it all written down in a poster.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still not really good at knowing. I think it's too high humidity means an early hatch, right?
I was going to say temperature being a little bit low.
And humidity is late, yeah.
I don't have problems with humidity. I do a dry hatch. I very seldom add water, and I get 80-90% hatch rates. So
Yeah, I have found that pretty much any time of the year, I do not add water until lockdown.
Mhm.
And in the summer when it's humid, I don't even, maybe just a little damp sponge,
Mhm.
but I don't need to add anything more than that. Winter is very, very different here,
Right.
but
Chase wants to know, how long you have been homesteading.
Well, I'd say off and on my whole life, except for when I was for about 20 years, 20 plus years, a special education teacher and a special education administrator. But I grew up that way, and as soon as I was done in the school systems, right back at it.
Okay. Fraser says, how to make the Farm Innovators Incubator have the same temperature everywhere.
Yeah, I do struggle with that sometimes too. And that is why I went to the circulated air for sure.
That's what I was going to
Without
say,
it,
add a fan to it.
yes, without it, it's known for that, I believe.
Right. Okay, Beth Reed says, what are your plans for Charlotte and the quail as she gets older? Will they continue to be mainly for family use, small business, or question mark?
We don't know. It's whatever Charlotte wants it to be. She's a very strong-minded individual at 6 years of age. She really, though, enjoys every aspect of the barn. She does not mind being up there. She'd much rather be at the barn. She does tend to want to sit in the hay bales and watch her YouTube kids sometimes, but we all need a break once in a
Sure.
while. But she also has school all day long too. But yeah, I mean, for us, it's just self-sufficiency for ourselves and for our family, and wherever it goes, where it goes.
Yep.
We'll see.
Freezer wants to know, do you sell any live quail?
Yes. So live quail, sell on breeder sets. Sometimes I sell live quail for people that want to butcher on their own, to harvest on their own.
Yeah.
I even right now I've been selling, which I don't really like to do, but they're local people, day-old chicks for pets. But yep, we sell breeder sets. We sell whatever people would like. We really fit to what they would like. So.
Okay. Chase says, do you do any dry hatching? Which we just covered that.
Yeah.
Okay, we got about 4 minutes left to see how many questions we can get in 4 minutes. T-Rick says, how many quail eggs can you hatch in the Hovebator? Mine holds 42 chicken eggs, but I plan to use it for quail.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that one with the quail rails too. It's 120.
120, yep.
Yeah.
Lori Robbins says, I know you've been asked before, but how do you advertise for eggs and chicks on Facebook or anywhere else? I have a lot of baby chicks and eggs in eastern Washington that I need to get rid of.
Craigslist is a great way. And what I do with my Craigslist, I also put my crazy critters. I kind of just I can't mention I can't put the Facebook link on there, I don't think, but I can just mention Charlotte's Crazy Critters.
Mm-hmm.
Craigslist is easier when it comes to all the Facebook logistics of selling on there.
Right.
So I really just promote the benefits of the quail, the benefits of the eggs, whether it's the health benefits, the enjoyment of having them. You do have to be creative. You can't just say, I have hatching eggs for sale.
Yep.
At least that
No,
way
I mean, people are coming up with some pretty ingenious ways of posting on. One was today I saw that I thought was really great. I'm not going to go into it. I don't want to plug him on here. Okay, I'm going to skip some of these questions that have already been answered or asked.
He's sleeping.
Quailman wants to know, how many quail does it generally take to feed your family? How many would you say that you process a month?
We usually do about 6 for our family, but Charlotte's only 6 years old, so
Right.
just for us. My sister-in-law came the other day, and she has a large family, and she actually wanted to get, I think she wanted to get 20 birds. And
Okay.
I said, I think you're going to be good with 13 or 14, but it depends on if you like it. As far as I've come across, everyone likes the quail meat.
Sure.
I've people come back numerous times wanting to know, when are you going to harvest again?
Verna wants to know, do you have the jumbo white wings yet?
Yes, if I forgot to mention that, I do have the jumbo white wings. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Kiki says, let's all move to Heather's.
Yeah, CSA commune or something. Yeah, sounds good to me. I'm a hippie at heart, and you may not like the winter here. It's
Right.
already here.
Yep. Quail Ma'am says 100 acres. Wow. Do you find it difficult to maintain a homestead of that size?
Well, we don't maintain all of it. It's a large piece of property. Another local farmer does all of the haying of the fields and harvests all the hay over there, and we buy hay from him for our goats and for sometimes for the pig bedding. We really just utilize a little bit of pasture space for the goats, and the interior of the barn.
Okay. Brandy says, two questions. What are the disadvantages of keeping quail and chickens together? And I like the idea of using chickens as a cleanup.
Yeah, it's very well known. You do not want to have your quail in the same cage, in close contact with the chickens. They will very easily can get sick, and it's just not a good thing. Chickens carry a lot of different things.
Yeah.
But I am hoping that with the distance in the space, that's why I'm experimenting, because I love the idea too that it gives the chickens, at least in the winter here, and when it's dark outside and they don't even want to be outside, a more of an opportunity to scratch, to explore. They're getting the few kernels, that the quail do, and they kind of keep it. I throw some shavings down in there too, so they kind of keep it all stirred up. So it's not just I don't have quail trays in that room. I don't have to shovel up the quail poop that's falling on the floor,
Right.
because the chickens are constantly scratching it. I mean, I do have 60 chickens, so 60 chickens have access to that room
Right.
and outside, and they keep it really, really dry and stirred up down there.
Kiki wants to know how old Charlotte is.
Charlotte is 6 years old.
6 years old. Okay, I think we about made it through. Let's see, we got one more here. Mad Farm says, good evening. Have you guys noticed the first hatch birds being a lighter color than the rest? Four times now I've had my first eggs hatch end up being lighter than the rest of the birds.
I've never, nope. Depends upon what I'm hatching, but I mean, I do like it when I pull eggs out of my my variety cage, my mixed cage, because I never know what I'm gonna come out with, and that's fun.
Sure.
But typically I have my incubator is full of jumbo white wings, jumbo wilds, jumbo Egyptians, jumbo whites. It's all a set.
Okay, we're going to take two more questions here because it's already after 8. This one I like by Heidi. It says, what do you sell your live quail, your eggs, and your meat for?
So in Vermont, I sell a 24-pack of eggs for $6. It's usually about 2 pounds of quail for $20. And if it's meat, and my live quail, I tend to try to encourage people to get a breeder set if they're interested in self-sufficiency. And I do my breeder sets for $45, which is 1 roux, 5 hens.
Okay.
And if they're not buying larger amounts, it costs them a little bit more. So if you're going to buy just 2 chicks for a pet that are 3 days old, I do sell them for $5 a piece.
Okay. Okay, last question. This is from Jimmy. It says, Heather, do you skin your quail or do you pluck the feathers when harvesting? And if you pluck, do you use a plucker machine? If you do use one, what type do you use?
Yeah. I'm still old school, and when we want the skin, I'm still hand plucking.
Okay.
Luckily, all my cages, when I do harvest, I'm only harvesting 20 to 30 at a time. I have all day to do it, so it's no big deal. But it is getting to the point where I probably will start researching what I'm going to use for a plucker. And
Sure. I bought one of them attachments that you stick in a drill.
Yeah.
Mainly because it was on sale, and 2 because I wanted to do a review on it. But it works really well. And
yeah, I watched.
But I skin most of my birds. I can do it so much faster.
Yeah, Eric can whip through them very quick and easy.
Yep.
Without, and I like them both ways, so it doesn't
Sure.
matter to me. I like them both ways. And every time, whether it's harvesting or whether it's my data management, I'm always trying to find the best way that fits. Like I'm right now, actually, I saw on a Facebook page, someone had just created a quail database.
Okay.
Um, and I checked that out, well, not last night, this morning, and trying to see if I could use that, because that I think might be handy, and it is quail specific. But
Right.
I'm gonna try it out, give him some advice, and see if we
Sure.
can get it really good. And
Cool. All right. Well, we are at the end of our time. People actually went 5 minutes over, but that's okay. The winner of the hatching eggs from William Carl Foster is going to be Cindy Cartwright. Cindy, if you could contact me and send me your shipping information, you can send it to either Terry at coturnixcorner.com or just message me over on Facebook if you're on Facebook and in the Coturnix Corner group, and I'll get that information over to William Carl and get your eggs right out to you. I want to thank everybody that showed up tonight, and Heather, I especially want to thank you and Charlotte for checking in tonight.
thank you.
You guys join us next week. We've got a surprise guest. And the reason I say surprise is because I have nobody lined up to come on next week. So I've got to get on the phone and see if I can't line somebody up and get us a show for next week. So Heather, thanks again. I really appreciate it. It was very interesting. And tell Charlotte, thank you very much for coming on also. It was a pleasure having her in. And everyone else, we will see you guys next week. And have a good night. Thank you.